JAYSTEPHER presents a single car garage tutorial complete with working door, tiled foundation, a side door with window, and removable roof, which will be perfect for any Lego home. So let's get started. Before we can begin the construction of our garage, you're going to need a base plate. This is a 16 by 32 dark gray base plate. Any size or color base plate will do for this tutorial. To start off things, we're going to need to line up where our door is going to be for the entry of our garage. Just going to use a 1 by 2 by 2 corner plate. I'm going to come down one stud here and place it 5 studs from the right. And I'm going to put a stop to hold my door. And I'll show you that later, but I'm going to use a 1 by 2 plate for that. Just place it right next to the corner plate. Now we're going to place a 1 by 6 here, 1 by 6 plate, followed by a 1 by 8 plate, and finally a 1 by 10, and this will be the side of our garage wall. Now along the left side, let's take another 1 by 8 plate, place it along the side here, and a 1 by 6. This will be the back wall of our garage. Now let's come along the other side of our garage. We're going to take a 1 by 10 plate, place it along there, a 1 by 8 plate, and finally a 1 by 6 plate to finish up the last side of the garage. Now to reinforce the other side of our entry of our garage, we're going to place another one of these 1 by 2 by 2 corner plates, and finally a 1 by 2 for a stop. Now you can either leave this exposed with studs, but I want to come in and tile this in. So we're going to need several 1 by 8s and 1 by 4s. We're going to start tiling in the bottom here to give our inside of our garage a finished look. Now, as with the finished tiles on the inside of the garage, this gives a nice smoother surface for our vehicle to drive across. Now I'm planning on putting on an entry doorway to the side of my garage. I'm just going to use a 1 by 4 smooth tile. We're just going to place it along here. 3 studs from the end here. That'll be for the entry point for our garage. Let's begin the first level of our wall. I'll take a 2 by 2. I'm going to place it here. And we're going to use a 1 by 2 45 degree slope roof tile. We're going to place it here. This is going to be the actual stop to stop our garage door. Next, let's use a 1 by 10 brick, followed by a 1 by 6 brick, and finally a 1 by 8. Now along the back here, I'm going to use a 1 by 4 brick and a 1 by 8. Now simply use a 1 by 2 brick. We're going to put it right here. We're going to leave an opening for our door, followed by a 1 by 10. And let's finish it up with a 1 by 8 brick, a 1 by 2 45 degree slope roof tile, and a 2 by 2 brick. Now we're going to use a 2 by 3 brick. I'm going to place it along the top here to kind of lock that corner in, and use a 1 by 3 brick, 1 by 10 brick, and a 1 by 8 brick to finish up the side there. Now we're going to use a 1 by 2 by 2 corner brick. We're going to place it along this corner here to kind of lock up our corner, and a 1 by 10 for the back wall, and another corner brick. Place it here. Let's use a 1 by 6, a 1 by 8, take our 1 by 3, and finally a 2 by 3 to lock in the other corner. And that's our second layer. Now let's start off with our third layer. We're going to take a 1 by 3, we're going to place it here to start building up the jamb of our door, and a 1 by 10, followed by another 1 by 10. And to finish up this wall here, 1 by 6. Now we're going to take a 1x4 brick and a 1x8 brick. We're going to place them side by side. Now we're going to use a 1x2, and we're going to put a 1x4 on the other side of our door, and we're getting ready to do an outline for our window. So leave this open 8 studs and put a 1x8 here at the other end. And to finish it up, a 1x3 brick. Now to start off with our fourth layer, we're going to take a 2x3, we're going to place it along the side of the garage, followed by a 1x3, a 1x10, a 1x8, and we're going to lock this corner in with a corner brick. The back wall, we're going to use another 1x10 and a corner brick for the side of our door. Place a 1x4 on top. Outline our window. Now we're going to use a 1x3 brick, a 1x2 brick, and finally a 2x3 brick for the other side. Now for the fifth row of brick, take a 1x3, followed by a 1x10, two 1x8s, we're going to place them side by side. The back wall, we're going to use a 1x4 and a 1x8. And around the door I'm going to use a 1x2 and a 1x4. And to finish up the other side of the window, I'm going to use a 1x8 and a 1x3 to finish up the side of the garage. Now for the sixth layer, I'm just going to use a 2x3, followed by a 1x3 brick. I'm going to use a 1x10 and a 1x8. Now let's use a corner brick and a 1x10. Now to wrap around our door, I'm going to use a corner brick and a 1x4 for the side of our window. Use a 1x3, a 1x2, and a 2x3 for the other side of our garage door. I want to come in and put a side entry door for my garage. I'm just going to use a 1x4x6 door frame and take just a simple yellow door and stick it inside this frame here. And just a simple 1x1 round plate for the knob. And we're just going to drop our door in. Got a nice working side door. Now we're ready to put a window for our garage. This is an option if you choose. I'm going to take two of these 1x2x3 frames. I'm going to stick a piece of glass in here. I'm going to do this twice. For our window, I've already got two prepared. And I'm going to use a 1x4x3 window frame. I'm just going to stick another pane of glass in here. Like so. This one opens up. Now let's begin the window ledge. I'm just going to take a 1x8 plate and a 1x8 track piece. Kind of set them both on top of each other. This is going to be our window ledge. And we're going to use our 1x4x3 window. We're going to set that right in the middle. Followed by the two 1x2x3 windows. We're going to put them on both sides. And to lock up our windows and to keep things level, we're going to use another 1x8 plate. Place it along the top here. Now we have a nice little window unit. We're just going to simply drop this in place. And everything's flush and level. Now we can begin the seventh layer of our wall. Now we're going to start putting the hinge assembly. You're going to need a 1x2 Technic brick with two holes. I'm going to set that right here along that back side there, followed by a 1x1. Now we're going to take a 1x10. We're going to start working on the seventh layer, followed by two 1x8s, along the back side here. For the back side of our wall, just a simple 1x4 and a 1x8. Now working on this part of the garage, we're going to take another one of these 1x2 Technic bricks with the 2 holes. We're going to place it along this side here. You're going to use a corner brick. I'm going to place it along this side here. Now we're going to use a 1x8. I'm going to place it above the door here. We need to lock that door into place. And I'm going to use a 1x16. If you don't, 2 1x8s will be great. I'm going to place a 1x16 above the window here to just lock it all in place there. For the 8th and final layer for our garage, we're going to cap everything off in the corners here with a 2x3, followed by 2 1x6s for the back wall. After that, let's use a 1x10. And for the back, we're going to place another 1x10, followed by a 1x4. Now for the side with the door and window, we're just going to use a 1x4 here and a 1x8. Now we're going to use a 1x10. Finally, a 2x3 to lock up this corner of the door. Now I'm planning on putting a removable roof on my garage. Let's kind of crown everything off with some smooth tiles. We're going to take a 1x1 and a 1x2 smooth tile. We're going to place them along the side here. And another 1x1 and 1x2. We're going to place it along this side. Both sides of this are the same, so I'm going to run through it real quick. Take 2 1x8s. We're going to place one here and one on the other side. Followed by 3 1x6s. Cap all that off. And the same for this side. Finishes everything off nicely. And finally, 2 more 1x6s to place on the back. And there is the first portion of our garage. Now we're going to need to put an actual garage door in here to close this off. So we're just going to take this and set it aside. We're going to start off with is a 6x10 plate. We're going to use a 1x10 and finally a 2x10. I'm going to place these along side by side here. Next we're going to use 2 1x8 smooth tiles. We're going to place them on both sides here, the lower portion. This is going to lock our plates together. Now we're going to use a 1x6 and a 1x4 for the top. Now the interior of the door, it doesn't matter what color you use, but I'm going to use blue. So I'm going to start off with the 1x8, add it some color. 3 1x6 smooth tiles. We're going to place them in here like so. Next, 2 1x4s. Leave these up high. We're going to put a handle for our garage. I'll show you that in a bit. And finally, 3 more 1x6 smooth tiles. Just fill it all in here. Now we're going to use a 1x2. Place it along the bottom here. And finally, a 1x8. Now you're going to need one of these 1x2 hanger bricks, handle bricks. I'm just going to set it down here like so. Now we got a handle for our garage. Next, let's flip our garage door over. We're going to be using 2 1x8 plates. We're going to place them along the sides of our door. So it's on the bottom half of the door. Now let's begin the hinging system for our garage. I'm going to set that aside there. I'm going to take 2 1x2 Technic bricks with 2 slots and 2 pegs that are friction. So the friction ones have the little ribs on there, you can see. And we're going to simply come in, we're going to place one on this hole like so, and one on the other side. So we have something we can use to attach our door. Now let's take a look back at our garage. We're going to need to attach our door to it. So we're going to come in here. We're going to place one of these in like so. This is going to be the hinge, as well as one on the other side. Now we're simply going to come in here, rotate our garage around, and I'm going to show you here. You're just going to take the door. We're going to attach it like so to our Technic bricks. There's our door. You can see it stops right up against the slopes. Simply grab it. There's our door. Very cool idea. Now let's get started on the roof. Now let's begin the construction on our removable roof. I'm going to use a 1x6 and a 1x4 plate. So I'm along the side here. This is going to be for the front part of our garage. I'll show you how to deal with that later. I'm going to take two 2x10s. We're going to place them end to end. Next, let's use a 2x6. There's one side of our roof construction. Now we're going to simply place a 1x10. Now about 7 studs here from the end. And another 1x10. We're going to have a 8 stud opening, followed by our last 1x10 where we have the 7. And we're going to work on the other side. We're going to do a 2x6 and 2 more 2x10s. And this is going to be the plate layout for our roof. Now we're going to use a corner brick. We're going to place it along right here. And we're going to use a 1x8 brick so we can lock together those plates. Now we're going to use a 1x6, 1x8, place it here in the middle where we have a 1 stud opening. And finally our last 1x6 plate, 1x6 brick, we're going to place it here. These plates are going to be used for our trusses, so we're going to take 2 1x6s, lock in our 1x10 plates, and we're going to finally use another 1x2x2 corner brick. We're going to lock together our 1x10 here and a 1x8 brick. Now on the lower side, let's use another corner brick. We're going to place it here, a 1x6. I'm going to use a 1x8. So you have a 1 stud opening, a 1x6, another 1 stud opening, and our last corner brick. And to lock up our trusses on the lower side, we're going to take 2 more 1x6 bricks. We're going to place them inside to lock everything together. Now you should have a very rigid frame. Now I want to construct some trusses to hold up my roof tiles. We're going to simply use a 1x10, and we're going to take a 1x8 brick. We're going to kind of sandwich them on top of one another. And finally a 1x4, and I'm going to do a barn style roof. And we're going to need to make 4 of these. I've already gotten the other 3 made in advance, and we're going to take our trusses, we're going to simply set them on top like so. So we're going to be placing these on top of all our rafters here to support our trusses. Now we're ready for roof tiles. Now let's begin the first level of our roof. We're going to need 14 2x4 45 degree slope roof tiles. We're going to place them along the parameter here, and I'm going to leave a 1 stud hangover, and we're just going to simply come around and we're going to place them all around the edges of our first row. Any color roof tile will do. If you don't have red, the project is fully customizable. See, we got another 1 stud hangover here. Continue with the other side, the same as the first. And there's our first layer of roof. Now we're going to simply start off with our next layer with a 1x2 roof slope. We're just going to place it along this corner here and use 12 more 45-degree slope 2x4 roof tiles. This is going to build up our second level of our roof. And as you can see, I've locked all these in. So if you do something like that, you want to make sure your seams overlap, makes your roof much stronger. And to finish up this last part of the side with our last 2x4 and our 2x2 roof slope. Now we've got everything nicely hanged over. Now let's begin the other side. Same as the first. And our last. Now for the third layer of roof. We're going to need 14 2x4 roof tiles, 45 degree. We're going to place them on top of the second layer. This will give us our first level of our barn style roof. Still got that one stud overhang. And with the second side, just do the same thing as the first. And our last 2x4 slope. Now let's begin using 30-degree slopes for our roof, for the next two levels of our barn roof. I'm going to use a 1x2 30-degree slope roof tile. I'm going to place along this end here to give us that one side hangover, and also we're trying to overlap each seam. Now we're going to take a 3x4 roof tile, place it here. Now note that this is getting a little tricky now, so when you come in and put your tiles in here, just make sure you take your hands, hold it down, and press down gently but firmly. And we're going to need to do this with 12 of the 3x4 slopes. Just be very careful. And finally our last 1x2. And we're going to rotate around. We're going to simply do the same process again. Same as the first, very simple. Roofs are very easy to put together once you get the hang of them. Our last 3x4 and our 2x3. The last row and the ridge is going to be a little more of a challenge. So we're going to start off with two 3x4s. We're going to set one along this side here. Also hold down, you can see right here how this tile here is starting to buckle. We don't want that. So just hold it down underneath. Kind of lock everything in. Do the same on this side. Hold underneath. And now we're going to start beginning to put our ridge tiles. This will lock the whole structure together. Simply come in, we'll do the same process again on this side. And if it's really tough to reach, just take your hand, put it underneath this one spot right here. We're just going to drop our next tile down. And we're going to do the ridge tile. So I'm going to use a 2x2 ridge here at the end. And we're going to use a 2x4 ridge. Moving right along, I'm going to simply use another 3x4 on both sides. Make sure you always hold up under the preceding level. I'm going to use a 2x4 ridge. Just set those down, reach underneath, just kind of push those down to lock everything in place. Continuing right along, and another ridge piece. Now things are getting pretty intense here. We're going to use another set of roof tiles and another ridge. When you run over a truss, it's so easy. Just about done. Now we got one small hole left. This should be very easy to lock in. And our last 2x4 slope. And our last 2x2 to cap things off. Just kind of firmly push down. The roof is very strong. It's locked in place now. Just push down anything you see that's still a little loose. Not going anywhere. Great strong roof. Now let's begin making the locking mechanism to snap on our garage. Now we're going to take care of these plates here. I'm just going to simply use a 1x10 tan. We're going to place it along this right here. This is going to be the top of where the door is going to be. Now we're going to count 3 studs from the edge here. We're going to go in out here, place a 1x4 plate, and we're going to use another 1x8 plate along the side of the 1x4. And finally a 1x10. And we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. Take our 1x4, 3 studs from the end, 1x8, and finally our 1x10. Then we're going to take our garage, simply snap the roof in place. And there you have it. The roof is locked in. It won't come out. You can see that I even got this top part filled in above the garage door, and the door does open up all the way. And there is our single car garage with side door and window. And it does work with pretty much any minifig style car. We just simply open up our door. I'm going to take my 4x4 red Jeep. Simply just going to pull it into the garage here. Doesn't even hit against the top. Plenty of room inside. And we can close our door. And it's really sleek. This will work good with any existing Lego set or Lego build. And be perfect for any Lego home. Thank you for watching.